Good morning, everyone. Thomas Montgomery with IIMFL and Smart Money Alliance. It is my pleasure to visit with you this Thursday morning, March 18th, 2021. This is probably the most important topic, the most important training session that we've had in a long time. So I'm so glad those of you that are joining us live today, as well as those of you that are listening to the recording. We're going to get right down to the matter of fact here. So our 501c3 nonprofit, you can see our mission statement here at the top of the IIMFL website. We're a 501c3 nonprofit committed to narrowing the racial wealth gap by doing three things. We teach financial literacy, we improve credit scores, both business and personal, and facilitate the development of minority-owned small businesses. Frankly, we work with all types of small businesses, not specific to race or gender or age or veteran status or other filters. But the bottom line is what you and I know, as much as anything, is that credit impacts us in many aspects of our lives. It affects where we live, what we drive. Increasingly, it even impacts our ability to get employment because background checks often look at credit now. It certainly impacts our ability to start and grow a business. So credit is huge. And again, there's two sides of credit. Business, which we're not talking about today, business credit like Dun & Bradstreet, Paydex scores and such. And then there's personal credit. As of today, Thursday, March 18th, 2021, we've made a significant enhancement to the Credit Boost program. We received feedback from many of you yesterday, and we have incorporated that, and it's live today. So this is very important. If you're a credit literacy educator, your income's probably going to increase tenfold or more from this new enhancement. If you're one of our joint venture partners, this is huge. And frankly, even if you're just an affiliate, it's a really big deal because credit is a barrier for many people being able to access capital. That's no longer the case. So let's go through this and then we'll take questions and answers. So feel free to type into the Q&A, the question and answer box there in Zoom, and we'll get to those comments, questions, concerns momentarily. All right, so the Credit Boost program, and this is the same website, IIMFL, no change there. We've made some enhancements to the Credit Boost page, which was here before, just some enhancements. First of all, we're clarifying, and Credit Boost was never credit repair. I do not believe that the world needs another credit repair service. Many of you offer credit repair. That's great. There are literally thousands, probably tens of thousands of credit repair options, or you can do it yourself. I don't have an opinion on any of those. That you do what you do. We're going to focus on Credit Boost. So Credit Boost is not credit repair. We're going to continue to focus on adding positive trade lines, but we do see so often that clients have not paid their bills in the past, and so they're really shackled down with derogatory items. And so if we have negative items pulling our scores down, simply adding new positive credit sometimes is not enough. So we're going to be looking at adding positive, as we have been, but using a legal system to remove derogatory items when applicable. YouTube video hasn't changed. Maybe it needs to be updated, but it hasn't. But here's where the content has been updated. So we're going to go through this together. And again, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, throw it in the Q&A box. So we start with the free credit analysis. Nothing has changed there. Now, if you're out promoting this and educating people about credit literacy, you're not going to want to refer them to the free credit analysis. What you're going to want to do is specifically drive them in on your landing page or drive them in on the inquiry form, which is at the bottom of every page of the website. And so that's where they would need to list referred by you. If you're a credit literacy educator, we're providing you a free landing page. And so then the referred by field is inapplicable because we know it's from you because it is your landing page. But it's specifically The credit boost program is the bottom box. But for the general audience coming to our website, they're going to start with a free credit analysis. And then we do clarify that we're looking for more credit literacy educators. So let's move over to the meat of the matter here on the midsection. So the credit score boost. We state that improving personal credit is typically a simple formula, and we've talked about this many times together before. We need to add positive trade lines and, if applicable, remove derogatory or negative item. That's the formula for great credit. Add positive, remove negative. Now, there's some clients that don't need to remove any negative. That's not their issue. And there's some clients that frankly don't need to add a new positive. But it's typically that formula that works. Add positive, remove negative. We emphasize again, credit boost is not a credit repair program. IIMFL 501c3 nonprofit is not a credit repair service. We are not in credit repair. So instead, we clarify, here's our simple process to boost your credit scores so you can better qualify for business loans, mortgages, auto financing, so forth. And what you and I know is our lives are impacted much more than just that. Your ability to get life insurance can be impacted by your personal credit score. Your ability to, and rates on car insurance and homeowners insurance is impacted by credit. So I don't think that anyone could argue the fact that having optimal credit is a smart thing to do. I don't think anyone can argue that your credit doesn't matter. It does matter. Even if you're at the point that you're not looking to finance anything or buy anything, you never know. You know, we've had cases where people didn't care about their credit. They followed the Dave Ramsey approach. They paid cash for everything. They had a car wreck that wasn't their fault. Now all of a sudden they need to go replace that car, and they're 30 something or 40 something or 50 something years old, and their credit's not even strong enough to go finance a car. How embarrassing is that? That is no longer a barrier. All right, so what we're going to do is help them boost their credit scores through a two-step process. Let's go through those, and we're going to go into some detail here, so please pay attention. So adding new positive trade lines, and there's no change there. Let's focus on number 2. Words are important, and the verb that we want to use is block. So the credit boost program is not credit repair. It does not repair credit. But what we do is we leverage legal provisions of the Fair Credit Reporting Act, specifically Section 605B, to block, B-L-O-C-K. It's in highlighted here in bold, as well as here where we'll talk about it more. So this is the verb. This is technically what's happening, is the derogatory information is being blocked legally and ethically from the credit reports. Now, you might say, well, how is that legal, or how does that work? Again, we're very transparent, maybe to a fault. So we have a hyperlink right here, and you can click on it, but I'll just flip over to where it takes us to the Federal Trade Commission's. Let me make it a bit smaller so you can see a full page. The Federal Trade Commission's Guide for Assisting Identity Theft Victims. This is, I think, over 100 pages. It is about 130 pages that talks about how this strategy works. Frankly, it is so transparent. We're telling people exactly how to do it themselves. If they want to use this strategy on their own, we're giving them the templates, the processes, the step-by-step guidance. Now, I won't go through all that, but what we'll do is we'll scroll down to the 605B letter, which is on page 77. So we go to 77, and here's the letter. So it's consumer, Section 605B, blocking request letter to consumer reporting agencies. And here's the template to use. And it's going to be sent to Equifax, to Experian, and TransUnion. In this case, it's not going into the normal credit dispute process. It's going into the fraud department, which gets priority treatment, because this is a claim based upon fraud. if someone has used your credit or someone else's credit illegally, inappropriately, then this 605B applies. So you can go through this at your convenience. I'm not going to read all of it to you, but it's extraordinary. So we've provided the full guide so someone can go through and do all of this themselves if they would like, or we can help them with it. And we'll get to that point in a moment. So again, on the IIMFL website, on Credit Boost, you scroll down, we're in the middle category, and there's a hyperlink right here to the page that I was just showing you. Now, what we want to highlight to our clients, Credit Boost participants, is that under federal law, a consumer reporting agency like Experian, Equifax, TransUnion shall block, in all bold here, the reporting of any information in the file of a consumer that the consumer identifies information that resulted from an alleged identity theft. And they must do so in no more than 4 days. This is a 4-day requirement they have by federal law to block the derogatory information provided to them in that letter I just showed you a moment ago. 4 days, not 30 days, not 60 days, 4 days. Now, I'm going to tell you the truth. You can do this yourself and use those same templates, but you've got one attempt at doing it right. And if you do it wrong, then they're going to consider it frivolous, and they're not going to allow for it. I will tell you that I've seen many people try to do this themselves, and they followed the FTC guidelines like I just showed you on the other page. And a lot of times the bureaus will not comply. They'll start treating it like a dispute versus a block versus a fraud issue. So how it's done, and if you have legal resources helping you do that with the threat that if the consumer reporting agencies, Experian, Equifax, TransUnion, don't do what's required by federal law, then we're going to sue them and drag their asses to court, then they're very motivated to comply with that law. So it's unfortunate. Can an individual do everything that the Credit Boost program and I'm showing you to do that we can do for them? They can. Will they get the same outcome? Theoretically, they should, but unfortunately, the system doesn't work well for consumers. But if that documentation is properly developed from legal resources, then it almost always works. 96% success is what we're seeing. Okay, so that's the credit score boost column. Let's go over to expected results. So the Credit Boost program continues to have no upfront cost. The Credit Boost agreement has not changed. It's the same as it has been. It's currently a DocuSign. Eventually the terms and conditions and enrollment will be online, but it's a DocuSign, hasn't changed a bit. There's no upfront cost to enroll in Credit Boost, no change. The expected results are only better now, and this is exactly as it was stated before, because if we're both adding positive and removing negative, what happens, of course, is we see results even more quickly. Now, I want to go back to the timeline for a second. So I'm quoting the law exactly. You know, this is, I could have put quotes around it, word for word. However, we're not going to tell clients, hey, expect better credit in 4 days. We're not going to do that. We're going to say, give us 60 days, because there's going to be some time to get the attorneys, everything put together, get the letters sent in, and then the clock starts ticking. So we're not going to tell clients, hey, better credit in 4 days. Setting the bar too high, people will be disappointed. We're sticking with, it's going to typically take 60 days, 60 days. Okay, our fee structure has not changed a bit for Credit Boost. No upfront cost, $10 per point increase. You get half of that. Excuse me, you get half of that. You get $5 per point of the credit score increase. So if the client goes up 100 points, you get 500 bucks. Some clients will get less of an impact, some will get more. If they go from a 500 FICO to a 700, then you get 1,000 bucks. So nothing has changed there. Now, if the client does not want to use, well, let's start. If the client wants to use our legal team, which is a third-party organization, we don't have attorneys hired, at least here currently in our office. So if they want to use a legal team to develop the FCRA documentation for the 605B, which we've shown them exactly what that is and how that looks. So that there's no question of, well, what exactly are you going to do? We're going to follow the FTC guidelines, but we're going to have attorneys and legal professionals do it. And again, unfortunately, the results from the legal profession is exponentially better than individuals, even though it's the same law and the same process. It sucks that that's the case, but I guess it's a great revenue opportunity for you. So what are they going to do? They're going to be able to help remove bankruptcies, which is a big deal, inquiries, foreclosures, charge-offs, collections, child support delinquencies, etc. The law firm charges a flat rate. Again, they're not a credit repair company. They're preparing the legal documents, preparing the file. They charge a flat rate of $939 to do that, and of which you get $100. Now, that's a discount off their normal rates. We were able to negotiate better terms. But the client needs to know that's not their only cost. I can't fix it. The law firm requires that the participants use for 3 months, which is stated here clearly, one of their approved credit monitoring services, and the client needs to anticipate spending about $20 a month. Can't get around it. So if you take 20 times 3, that's 60, add 60 to 939, they're under $1,000 for much better credit. So you and they can make a decision, is that a good deal or not? Is that something I want to do or not? Because as we clarify, Credit Boost clients don't have to use the legal assistance. They simply don't have to. It doesn't matter to us. They don't have to go out and get credit monitoring if they don't want it. But if they want to use the legal model, then they understand that they're going to have an outlay of about $1,000. So to them, is having great credit worth $1,000? And that's really how I would phrase it to them. If you could have great credit in 30 to 60 days, is it worth $1,000 to you? And either it is or it isn't. Now, let's say no, or yes, it would be, but I don't have $1,000. I don't have the $939 to pay the law firm, and or I don't have the $20 a month to pay for the credit monitoring. Because you'll get people that'll ask crazy crap like, well, why don't you guys pay it for me and I'll pay you later. Well, that's not the way law firms work. I mean, if you contact any law firm in your community, most of them are going to require a retainer, and often that retainer will be $3,000, $5,000 or more. This is a great economic deal. It's very fair. These types of attorneys normally are charging $500 to $700 an hour. We've got a great fee structure for the client. But that doesn't matter if the client just can't afford it. So they want it, but they can't afford it. Then we've got 2 options. Number 1, they can become a credit literacy educator. They can help others and they can earn some income. Because frankly, it's not your fault. It's not my fault that they're broke. If they're broke and they have bad credit, it's not your fault. It's not my fault. But we can help them generate adult income by being a credit literacy educator so they can afford it. That would be option number 1. Option number 2 is we can do a payment plan, almost like a layaway plan. And we'll work with them, whatever a reasonable budget is for them. If they want to pay $100 a month or $100 a week, frankly, whatever, as long as it's at least $100 payments, because it's just not worth the time for recording the transactions. So if they want to do like a layaway plan, we'll work with them. You might say, well, how long do they have to pay off the $939? As long as they need. If it takes them 4 years to pay it off, then that's fine. So it's like a layaway plan. We'll set up a payment system. They're not going to be on the hooks. In other words, if they promise to pay $100 a month and they can't afford to make a payment next month. There's no consequence. It's just like a layaway plan. So once they pay the $939, then we're off and rolling. Until then, we can just accept whatever payments is affordable to them. Once they've paid the $939 in, then you will have earned your $100 commission. Now you're still making the money off the credit boost, but you'll get $100 off of the $939 once they've paid that in. Okay, so let's get back to the top of the page here, and then let's start working through the questions, comments, concerns you have. But again, let's just reemphasize. Why is this important? This is important, number one, because it's consistent with our mission, improving credit scores. Number two, it's important because personal credit matters. It impacts our access to capital to be able to start and grow small businesses. And what we're doing is we're improving their financial literacy. Again, there's no secrets. This is linked right to the website so they can see exactly how this law works. They can see sample letters. They can go do it themselves if they would like. But there's just incredible detail and transparency here. And if they do the do-it-yourself model, what does it cost them? Zero. Absolutely zero. If they want the law firm to do it, the law firm doesn't work for zero. I wish they did, but they won't. That's not the way the system works. So the law firm wants, if you want them to prepare the documents and manage that process, then they're going to charge $939. It's normally paid up front. And as I mentioned, if the client doesn't have the money, we've got two options. They either can become a credit literacy educator and earn it, which is great. Earned income is important. Or we can do the layaway plan where they make payments in bits and pieces until they can afford it, which is fine. And it's not where they're going to get in trouble if they can't make payments for a while. It's really based as a layaway plan. Okay, so let's dig in to the questions, comments, concerns that you have. All right, so Stefan asked, can this blocking method, and the blocking method is clearly stated in 605B, so there's no secrets to it. I don't understand your question, Stefan, I guess. So I feel like you're restating what I just covered. I don't see the question. So I'm sorry, Stefan, you may want to re-ask your question so I can answer it better. All right, and so Dion says, I want to be above reproach on this. I'm kind of insecure about applying this. Sorry, Dion, you didn't put any punctuation, so I'm trying to break this into sentences. Applying this has nothing to do with potential identity theft. Well, that's a great point. Yeah, Section 605B has to do with, and let's go back up to the top, with identity theft. And so that's a great point. This has to do with identity theft. Thank you, Dion, for that. Stefan clarifies that better credit equals more FTF funding. That's right. I mean, so better credit, we've talked about recently the 4 C's, credit, cash flow, collateral, and character. Well, our credit is frankly a reflection of our character. Do we do what we say that we'll do? And also, of course, credit is part of the underwriting that we typically see with many types of underwriting. And so you're absolutely right, Stefan. If we can help people improve their credit, personal and or business, then it's going to increase their access to capital. That's absolutely right. All right, so Robert's asking about the 10,000 MasterCard, and we'll save that for a different discussion. That's off topic of today. Most likely we'll talk about that tomorrow or Monday. And so, yes, Scott, I know that you're wanting some updates. We'll work on that. So Greg says, okay, so in submitting clients, so clients are going to come into the Credit Boost program. They're going to always come into the Credit Boost program. They contract with, well, let's talk about the process. So you're going to submit the lead for Credit Boost. You don't sell anything to anyone. You can submit them, Greg, and everyone else, one of two ways. There is the inquiry form at the bottom of this page. And so it would be crucial that they list referred by you, Greg. Otherwise, we wouldn't know that you referred them. But we've provided all of you, I think, a landing page and a unique flyer to use that's specific to you. So now they don't have to list referred by Greg. We know it's referred by Greg because it's your landing page. And so I would recommend using the landing page, not this inquiry form. But if for some reason you don't have a landing page or can't find it, you can always use as a backup the inquiry form. Stefan said I'd explained it after he typed. Okay, great. Thank you. Oh, Dion asked a good question. And so again, 605B is relevant to blocking derogatory information based upon identity theft. And so if the individual doesn't believe they're not alleging identity theft, then this doesn't work. And so, no, I'm not suggesting that works for everyone. Now, what we know is there's been a lot of data breaches, and we have a list of the data breaches and the dates that they occurred. And that's part of the strategy that the law firm does, is they're not able to just make some generic statement, oh, I, John Smith, was a victim of identity theft. They're able to say, I, John Smith, was a victim of a data breach by Bank of America on or about April 13th, 2020. So part of the strategy that the law firm uses is taking those templates and making it very tangible and specific. But you're right, Dion, if someone just, well, the bottom line is if they're not alleging identity theft, then you wouldn't do this. There's other Fair Credit Reporting Act provisions for disputing items that are not accurate, complete, or verifiable. That is the normal dispute process that Lexington Law and others use that typically takes a long time. This is a more aggressive strategy that blocks, doesn't remove derogatory information. It blocks it from reporting based upon the provisions allowed under Section 605B. But yeah, if someone just wants general credit repair, then you can help them with that, or you can refer them to one of the million different credit repair companies out there, of course. Yep, I agree, Stefan. This is definitely a credible and legal system. And again, instead of having a bunch of our own marketing material, if they want to understand how the process works, it's right here on the FTC's website, on the FTC's guidance, all the way back. It's almost 10 years old now. This is the real deal with step by step. So let's say you got a prospect, Steph, and they're like, well, what are you going to do? You can show them this and say, look, this works. It's allowed under the Fair Credit Reporting Act. This is developed by a government agency, the FTC. You can go do it, or you can have our law firm do it. Doesn't matter, it'll work. The process works. Do we anticipate that the law firm will have better results? We absolutely do. Unfortunately, that is the case. And if they want to do it on their own, just let them know. Be very diligent. This can't be trial and error. You got one chance on a 605B. So if they don't assimilate this information, which is 132 pages long, if they don't assimilate and they don't do it right, there's a high probability that their submission will not be considered credible and it won't be considered. So it has to be done right. Okay, so let's get back to other questions, comments. Okay, Barry asked a really good question. So a client's already working with a credit restoration company and they already have identity IQ. Well, we've got a couple issues. If they're already going through some credit improvement strategy, I would let them be. I mean, if it's working, it's working, right? If they're set to get all their derogatories off in about 60 days, why fix something that's not broken, Barry? I would just let them be and say, great, great. How long have you been in it? I've been in it 30 days. Great. Sounds like you're 30 days away from having a great credit score. Hang in there. But if it's not working for them, then you may want to educate, well, maybe this is a better option. If this meets their circumstances, then they could quit their credit repair company that may not be doing a good job if that's the case, and instead come over to the Credit Boost. But again, as we state here, our Credit Boost clients are not required to work with the legal team. They are not required to use a credit monitoring service. Now, if they're going to use the legal team, then they need the credit monitoring service because that's what the attorneys require. I can't change that. But it's fine. If they're working with a credit restoration company and it's working, I wouldn't fix it. But I would suspect if you set a tickler up and followed up with them once they're to day 60 and asked, well, great, are all the negatives gone? Do you have a better than a 700 credit score? I bet 99 out of 100 times they're going to say, no. Now, I know you can go get Lexington Law, and there's a lot of these credit repair companies, which this isn't credit repair, and they'll charge, let's say around $100 a month. Well, that's fine. And if that better meets their needs, that's fine. All you and I can do is improve financial literacy by educating them about laws and systems and techniques. And we're very transparent about that. And Kwong's asking how to download the guide. Kwong, do you see this highlighted right here? And you click on that and it'll pop up this page here. Okay, so hopefully that answered your question, Barry. Thank you for bringing that up. Kwong knows how to get the guide now. And yes, Peggy, if you'll email over, our email is down here at the bottom of the contact us. Normally, we will have provided each of you a Credit Boost flyer with your landing page on it. It's possible that for some reason we didn't, and if that's the case, just let us know and we can get you a new one. But the flyers that everyone has still works. The landing page is still applicable. There's no change. So the Credit Boost program, the agreement hasn't changed. All we're doing is bringing their attention. We're educating them. We're creating awareness that, by the way, if you have derogatory items, if applicable, you could block those derogatory items using 605B. All right, thank you, Peggy, for that. And again, another question. Yeah, so again, if they're in some other credit repair program, which we're not a credit repair, but if they are in a credit repair program, I would just say, great. If it's working for you, keep doing what you're doing. But if you want to accelerate the results, then they could enroll in Credit Boost, and we could use this model to get them results much more quickly, most likely. Thank you for that. Robert asked about those folks that are in Capital Ready Package 3.0. And so remember, we launched, I don't know, was it a month or 2 months ago, that anyone that enrolls in Credit Ready Package 3.0, they get credit score at no charge. In other words, they don't pay the points. They don't pay the $10 performance fee. And that hasn't changed. But just because they're in Capital Ready Package 3.0 doesn't mean that the attorneys will work for free. So if they wanted to use this element of the strategy, they would still need to pay the document processing fee to the law firm, because the law firm is not going to do it for free. But great question, Robert. Stefan asks, I'm trying to read this. How do in get? I don't understand that, Stefan. Maybe if you rewrite that, I can understand that. Okay, can I get word format of the credit boost flyer, maybe flyer, and access to capital? So yeah, we provide the landing pages and marketing flyers for our distribution partners. So all you got to do is just email us and let us know. Says if people use the blocking method, which is real, it's legitimate, it's credible. We've had 96% success. We talked about that yesterday. Now, what does that 96% mean? That would mean that of 100 derogatories, on average, 96 have been blocked. And so on average, 4 have remained. Well, one person is probably not going to have 96 derogatories, I understand, but that's what that means. That doesn't mean that of 100% of clients that 4 won't see any results. It's that of the derogatory items, 96% of them have come off. But the point is, yeah, I mean, $9.39 is a great price. When we were talking yesterday and kind of having the free form discussion, a lot of you wanted to see a lot lower of a price, and I would too. But and I guess you could approach local attorneys and ask them if they would do this cheaper, right? Because any attorney could do this. It doesn't have to be the law firm that we're working with, but this is the best rate we have available. I don't know what else to say. So if you want a lower rate, the clients can, of course, do it themselves, or they could find their own attorney that would maybe do it cheaper for them. I mean, that's okay. What we're using, again, are federal laws, using the FTC's guidance. There's no secrets. There's nothing gray about it. It's all laid out here. And again, we saw down on page 77 or 78, whatever, 79, we get into the letters. I mean, it's all here. But what we know is that how the process is handled makes a big difference of the results. And part of that, of course, is when there's legal letterhead on the top of some of these documents, it makes a difference. And the ability for the legal professionals to say, do this or we'll see you in court because you're violating a federal law is very powerful. You and I could threaten to sue someone as individuals, and that might fall on a deaf ear. If you have a law firm or legal professionals threatening to hold the CRAs, Experian, Equifax, TransUnion, accountable to federal laws, better believe that makes a difference. Because I'm not an attorney, but it's my understanding, if you threaten to sue someone but you don't follow through, that could be considered illegal. But if you threaten to sue and you follow through if they don't do it, then that's perfectly legal, because we as citizens have rights, and the legal system is there to protect our rights. You can't file frivolous suits, of course, but if your rights have been infringed upon, then you have the right to go through the legal system, the court system, to resolve it. And so I won't kid you that the model that the legal system uses is holding Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion accountable to the 4-day rule. That if you and I tried to just hold them responsible to that, accountable to that, I think it would be less powerful. Robert, let me get back. It's a permanent block. So the block is permanent. He was asking if it's temporary or permanent. And Barry's asking, I think what Barry's asking is, can clients just come in and just do this standalone? So the answer is no. They would enroll in Credit Boost. That way you're getting paid off of it, right? Because really we're not getting paid off of this whole processing fee. I know you're getting $100. We're not getting anything. But the point is, we're just covering our costs. But the point is, the revenue for all of us off of Credit Boost comes from the $10 a point. So if we take that out, it's kind of like we're all working for free, and that's hard to do. So that's right, Barry, they would need to come through the Credit Boost program. So we don't have like a separate agreement for the legal team and the processing fee. They're going to sign up and enroll in Credit Boost. currently administered through a DocuSign, but again, we'll be moving to online terms and conditions. Dion asks, is there any way to incorporate the rate into the refundable deposit like I was thinking increasing the fund? I don't know what that means, Dion. I'm sorry. It's my fault, not yours, but I don't know what that means. Robert asked about orphan clients, and that's great. So with our mentors that are working with orphan clients, if you're the one that's bringing them in to Credit Boost, then you would qualify for that revenue stream if you're one of our mentors. So it'll impact you considerably, because Robert, you're probably seeing anywhere from 5 to 25 new clients a week, and that number is continuing to increase. I suspect about 80% of them would benefit from this. Let's see. He says, what we offer is very unique since we boost credit and remove negative. Yep. It's needed. It's needed. And it fits directly into our nonprofit's mission. All right, time for the last question here, and then we'll wrap it up. It says, regardless if people use blocking method, is that the still, oh my goodness, I got to read these words carefully. Regardless if people use blocking method, is that the still can get credit fixed for $939? It's a bargain. I work for an attorney. I work for an attorney, should be an attorney, that did the disputes in 2000 and charged $695 back then, and retired as millionaires since they sued the 3 credit bureaus because they violated the law. Yeah, and so you're right, Stephan. Unfortunately, there's a bunch of laws, and some of them are contained within the Fair Credit Reporting Act that's designed to protect consumers. Unfortunately, you have 800-pound gorillas, massive organizations with Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion. And if there's not attorneys involved with holding them responsible, a lot of times they don't follow those laws. And so there certainly are benefits of using the legal team. But what I feel really good about and sleep well at night is that we're teaching people exactly the model, and they can go do it on their own, or they can use additional assistance. It's up to them. All right, well, I think that we have covered everything. If there's any specific information that you need, what you need to do is email us so we can help you with those. And then in terms of implementation, so clients that are in the Credit Boost program already, we will begin letting them know about this available resource, and they can decide if it applies to them. And if it does apply to them, they can decide if they want to do it themselves or use the legal team. It doesn't matter to us. We're not making money off of it. You're making money off of it, right? You're making $100 of that $939. We're just covering our cost. So we don't have some great incentive to drive a bunch of people in to the legal model if that's not what they want. It's whatever that is best for the client, whatever they're most suitable for. However, I think from your perspective, marketing, this is an excellent arrow in your quiver to let them know that the Credit Boost program, there's no upfront cost. It is not a credit repair program, but we're able to typically increase credit scores by 100 or more points quickly by both adding positive and removing derogatory items legally. When there's no upfront cost and people have messed up credit, you've got a real good opportunity. Your close rate should be well over 50%. Now, I realize you're not selling anyone anything, you're just driving them into your landing page. But if you just are ethical and honest and help them understand this value proposition, in other words, educate, that's what credit educators do, over 50% of the people you feed in should participate. And again, there's no upfront cost for them to enroll in Credit Boost. All right, well, thanks everyone. Appreciate your time. We'll see you back tomorrow morning. Have a good day.